Tonight I'm here to talk to you about a potential park and playground project for the city of Palm Bay. First off, I'd like to recognize we have several staff from the potential donor, Advanced Recreation Concepts. If you guys could stand and be recognized. Well, anytime I have the opportunity, I like to remind folks the importance of parks. And we want to promote parks and recreation. So, as you've heard me say before, it starts in parks. Coaching, connecting, community. Do you remember playing in a park as a child? Playing football as a kid? Jumping rope in a park? Playing marbles or jacks at a park? Have you ever walked the trails and visited the nature center at Turkey Creek? What about kayaking on the river? I often get asked, what do you do as the Parks and Recreation Director? Laugh usually a little bit. It's not like the TV show, I promise you. But it's my job to provide experiences. I know today on Facebook you see people posting pictures of their children, their grandkids, and the common theme is playgrounds and parks. These are positive experiences and lasting memories that start in parks. Parks and recreation bring value to a community. They help improve property values and attract businesses. They are an essential component to any city. It starts in parks. It's not just teaching a game, it's coaching for life. It starts in parks. It's not just a playground, it's connecting with each other. It starts in parks. It's not just a walk in the park, it's your community. There are national park standards. The National Recreation and Parks Association has set some standards, and their guidelines suggest that a park system at a minimum be composed of a core system of parkland with a total of 6.25 to 10.5 acres of developed open space per thousand population. So if Palm Bay has approximately 104,000 people, we should have 650 to 1,092 acres of developed open space. We're a little bit short on that. And if you take a look at this park service map, best practices are to service all the residents in the community. So if you see up here on this map, we have the different parks. So here's Sacrifice Park, which is where we are here at City Hall. The pinkish purple circle is a quarter-mile radius, and the green is a half-mile radius. Now, for most parks that we have, half-mile radius, walking or riding your bike, that's pretty desirable. The bigger parks, like Palm Bay Regional Park, we probably could have a 2-mile radius of people that they service, and people are going to go there for a specific need. But if you take a look, we're pretty developed here in the Northeast, and then all of the different white spots, that's where we're not servicing people in our community. Now, I know down here by the BMX and the paintball park, there's maybe not as many residents, but in here and in this area, there's a lot of residents, there's a lot of kids, there's a lot of people in our community. So this is the proposed area we're talking about servicing right up in here. Also, according to national park standards, a neighborhood park. A neighborhood park services approximately a quarter to half-mile radius. It services a population of up to 5,000 people, a neighborhood. And it's usually about 15 acres plus or minus, and it's easily accessible to the neighborhood by bike and by walking. So there's different parks in a park system. Mini parks would be like Sacrifice Park behind us here, a very small pocket park. Neighborhood parks would be like Veterans Park. That's a really good example of a neighborhood park. And then the community parks are the big parks, like I mentioned, Palm Bay Regional. So, if we take a look at what we're discussing tonight, we're discussing the property at Port Malabar and Riviera at 1381 Riviera Drive. If you take a look in here, there's two parcels. The city owns this property. This top parcel is 16.9 acres, and the bottom parcel is 14.3 acres. We're concentrating on this bottom section, not the top part. It's my job to provide open space and parks and playgrounds to the residents of Palm Bay. As we discussed, it starts in parks. We want to provide these positive experiences in our neighborhoods. And basically about a month ago, I got a phone call. Heidi, we want to make a $65,000 donation to the city and give you a pirate-themed playground. Well, what would you say? What would you do? So I was pretty excited, and I said, what do we need to do? Let's talk. This was the initial proposal that was sent to me by Advanced Recreational Concepts out of Melbourne. And they wanted to see if we were interested in discussing this potential. And I said, absolutely. So right now, I'd like to introduce to you Dave Antonassi from Advanced Recreation Concepts. He's going to tell you a little bit about who they are and why they chose Palm Bay for this project.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. The story was quite interesting. We had gotten a call from a national supplier who once a year donates a playground somewhere across the U.S. in a needed area, and had chosen our firm to be the distinguished firm to find a needed source and a needed community for this particular playground, that it would have a good home. We did some research, and we do, of course, a lot of business here in the county. We do all the Brevard County schools. We do the Parks and Recs as well, and we know certainly a lot of people here in and within the state of Florida. But what we got was an interesting call from our employees. We do happen to employ many people that live here in the city of Palm Bay, and we were hearing from our own employees that, why don't you bring it to Palm Bay? Why don't you give it to Palm Bay? There's a need for it, and certainly I'm aware that there's a need for it because I've coached for the last 15 years in baseball, and I certainly am aware that there is limited space. Because I am in the business, I'm also aware that there's shortfalls in budgeting here and all over. So I thought that because we were close to you, that it could easily be serviced, that I know the city of Palm Bay very, very well. We decided to introduce ourselves to the Parks and Recs director, which we introduced ourselves, of course, to Heidi, and said, well, look, there is a national manufacturer who is one of the top 3 out of the 25 manufacturers in the country. So this is an extremely high-quality playground. And along with that donation, that we would donate ourselves a good another $20,000 worth of rubber safety surfacing, which is what we manufacture right here in Brevard County. We thought that was a good mix, and presented it to Heidi. And at that time, we felt that we had a good match in terms of need and in terms of our ability to bring something to the table here for the city. And at that point, Heidi went to work and found us a site, and here we are today. I'd like to thank you all for giving us an opportunity to present this to you.
So basically, we talked a little bit about site selection already, and a couple of the things that Advanced Recreation Concepts said in the initial phone call was the need of the community. And I said, I have need of the community. Our budget's been cut $2.25 million over the past 5 years, and 40%. We definitely have need. They talked about the service area in the neighborhood, and that was the graphs, the circles that showed the white area. Definitely, we'll find a spot for it. And one of the things that BCI Burke wanted is they needed to be near water because it is a pirate ship. So I said, well, we don't have any oceanfront property, but this pond will work. There's some water there. We can make it work. And then long-term benefits. We looked at some sites throughout the city that were already existing parks and playgrounds, and we really thought we could get a bigger benefit out of going to this particular site at Riviera and Port Malabar. To add a park and to add a playground to our existing inventory is huge. That has lasting effects on the community for many years to come, and we were really excited about that opportunity. So basically, the property that we're talking about is city-owned, and as I mentioned before, we own this entire parcel. It's kind of like an L, a backwards L. This top part is wetlands. We don't plan to do too much with that right now. Maybe a proposed trail down in the future, but nothing immediate. And we're really concentrating in this corner parcel right down here. So closer in, you can see it, and coincidentally, it's kind of shaped like an arc. And truthfully, I've gotten a little bit of grief over it. These guys, they don't call themselves ARC. They call themselves ARC, or Advanced Recreation Concepts. Well, we're sitting here looking at the aerial. So, well, we need to start calling it something, just for reference for now in the meantime before we go through the process. What about ARC Park? So we've been calling this the proposed ARC Park project. We kind of figured it had double meaning and it worked out well. Future site plan. We really feel that down the road, this could be a park that has something for everybody. So in this proposed future plan, there would be a path system that we could put in around the pond. This would be able to create passive recreation. People could walk their dogs, they could walk, they could run, they can jog. And the one good part about this is, you all know me pretty well, my hand's always out, there are grants for path systems. So this is very doable. This is very realistic. And we're trying to, again, keep all the activity in this corner here. We understand that this is a passive park as is, so putting some benches, maybe a fishing pier, things like that around the pond, we thought would be important. Down the road, as part of a future plan, additional parking, that could house some cars in there. And if you look, this is the cutouts in the median, so we're really trying to not disturb any neighbors because it would be in the cutout. Also, an additional pavilion with bathrooms. Any park or playground, it's great to have a place to sit, place to get in the shade, place to go to the restroom. And down the road, if I can convince utilities and Dan the man with all the money, why not a water or splash pad too? That's kind of pie in the sky, but throw it out there. And then this is the area, I have to say it on record anytime I can for Dan. And then this is the area that we're proposing for the pirate ship. The proposed project, this is Riviera Drive, and let me walk you through this plan. We'd have some parking. This would be paved. We'd have 2 handicap accessible stalls that would be paved. Now, when we put in a new playground, everything that we're doing is ADA compliant. So we need to be cognizant of that, so we feel that having these spots is important and crucial to this park project. We would then have a sidewalk going from the handicap spots. This is where the existing gazebo is. Now, regardless of this project, that gazebo needs to come down. That gazebo is in disrepair and is pretty much an eyesore. So what we're proposing is a brand new gazebo, new concrete slab, new picnic tables. People can still go there to enjoy their lunch or watch their kids when they're at the playground. And then we would put the pirate ship right here. There's 2 existing trees that provide excellent shade in the middle of the afternoon, which was really appealing. And kind of having the bow of the boat facing the water we thought would be pretty neat. And the safety surfacing. We also want to do it right. To just accept the donation, we could just put in the concrete pad, put the safety tiles in the playground, and be done. But then there's no new gazebo, there's no park benches, there's no parking for people in a wheelchair or ADA accessibility, so we figured we'd do it right. And this is what we're proposing. Now, I totally get geeked out over this. As you can see, this has totally changed from when we first got it. It's bigger, better, that type of thing, according to myself, recreation, big kid. It's a multi-level playground. So this is one level, and then the kids go up to the second level. This is designed for 5 to 12-year-olds. It encourages imaginative play. These are imaginative play panels that they have interactive features on them. There's a whole bunch of different slides. And slides are like amenities on a car. Do you want power steering? Add a slide. You want, anti-lock brakes? Add a slide. So the fact that there's 3 slides and they're different slides, that's pretty cool. And then all the different climbing features that we have, as well as the safety surfacing. The safety surfacing would be blue to represent water in some spots, and a yellow or tan color to represent land in other spots. We're still working on that exact design. This is another version of that on the other side. You can see where people can get on with a wheelchair or ADA accessibility. Lots of climbing features, hand-over-hand upper body strength, more imaginative play areas. And the treasure chest, I'm not really sure what it does, but it just seems cool. So we'll see about that. But that's what we're proposing. We discussed a brand new gazebo. It definitely needs a facelift, and we would include some new picnic tables. So what is the city commitment? As I mentioned, the amenities that we want to add, we would be using park impact fees for this. And the park impact fees are a fee that is charged for the impact to facilities by a developer, new development coming in. So we've kind of been banking or holding this money the past couple of years because there haven't been a lot of development out there. This is not out of the general fund. This is not taxpayer dollars. Developers pay these fees, and impact fees can only be spent on capital facilities, not operating expenses or salaries. Like I said, we want to do it right and add the amenities and make it a great playground. So concrete sidewalk, new gazebo, sidewalks, parking, safety fencing, improved landscaping, and amenities such as benches, garbage cans, and picnic tables. One of the other neat things about this project is how we're going to save on labor. We're going to do it community build, get everybody involved. That's a huge cost savings to the city. Advanced Recreation Concepts have been great. They're going to bring their entire offices over. Parks and Recreation, in conjunction with Public Works, Utilities, hopefully we can get some police and fire, some other folks in the city, and then people in the neighborhood to literally put this together one bolt at a time. Advanced Recreation Concepts will be there to certify it, make sure it's done right, but we'd ask the council to roll up their sleeves and come join us and help us out. We definitely need all hands on deck. Get it? You know, I gotta crack myself up a little bit here. So what do we need from the community? Like I said, their help in building the playground. Concrete donation, asphalt donation, safety fencing, landscaping, and money are always welcome. You know, it's not a presentation. We can afford this with our park impact fees, but if there's other businesses out there, other people that want to help, this is an excellent way to get involved with the community. So as far as the schedule, people have said, why is this happening so quickly? They just called me at the middle of October, and they need to have it built by January 11th. Sometimes opportunities come along, and either you can get on board or, you know, sink or swim. I'm trying to use all my expressions here. Come on. So we said we were going to try to swim and see if we can make it. So we did the Recreation Advisory Board meeting on the November 6th. They accepted and approved the idea of the project. We had a sign placed on the corner of the property at Riviera and Port Malabar. We also mailed out approximately 155 notices to residents within 500 feet of the proposed playground about a community meeting. We had the community meeting on Wednesday, November 7th. We had approximately 20 people in attendance. Since then, I have received over 25 emails about the project, which I have passed along to you, some even today. A couple more came in right before the meeting. And one that came in that I was handed to right before the meeting started from Riviera Elementary School, basically saying that they think it would be a wonderful asset to the community and their children, and if they have any questions to contact them, that they have 767 children enrolled in PK to 6th grade, with a lot of those people living within a 2-mile walking distance of the school. So basically, we're here tonight to ask for your approval. End of November, we'd like to do a groundbreaking because we're moving quick. Early December, we'd start that site work, the cement. End of December, before the holidays, we're really trying to do this community build. One of the things that Advanced Recreation Concepts, we really want to try to build this for when the kids are on winter break, so they have a place to play over winter break. How cool would that be? And then having a big party, grand opening in January. Now, at the community meeting, there were several community concerns that came up, and I wanted to address those. The two big things were safety and the environment. As far as safety goes, Captain Jim Rogers was at the community meeting, and he has walked the site, and he kind of did a safety assessment. And I asked him what that means. He said he really felt that the playground location was fine and within current practices of what we do within the city. The playground would be a good 200 to 250 feet off of Port Malabar Road. It would be more than 50 feet off Riviera. And while accidents occur, historically they occur a few feet off of a road. So it's further back on the property. We didn't feel that the playground would be an immediate threat. As far as traffic, we've talked to Public Works. They were also at the community meeting. And Jim will be working with Public Works, Parks and Rec, and the police of installing traffic counters to monitor the volume of vehicles and what time of day they are traveling through the intersection. According to Jim, and I agree, again, as with any intersection, dangerous situations can exist at any time. But when he pulled the data for that particular intersection, the last traffic crash was September of 2011. And based on the type of intersection and the volume of vehicles, this intersection is no safer or unsafe than any other similar types of intersections that are out there. As for crime, calls for service were run at similar parks, Inspiration Park and Bill Madden Park. And Madden Park on the south side is also about 50 feet off the road over there. Both of these parks are newer within the past 5 years, and they are similar to the proposed Arc Park site with the safety tiles, newer playground features, and just the playground. Between January 1st and today, at Inspiration, there have been only 2 disturbance calls at the park, one for noise and one for a domestic argument. Madden Park, no disturbance calls, 1 documentation of vandalism to a bathroom, and 1 theft report. The theft was a bicycle, which was quickly recovered, and the victim did not want to pursue charges. Another community concern has been the environment and the Sandhill cranes. City professional staff has reviewed and evaluated the site. Ole Johnson, our park ranger and naturalist, who's been with the city over 20 years, basically issued the following statement, and I quote, "The Sandhill cranes have adapted well to living in close proximity to humans. The placement of a playground at the proposed Ark Park site will not adversely affect the cranes. Actually, the planned removal of exotic vegetation, such as Brazilian pepper trees and water hyacinth, from the lake and surrounding land will improve the habitat for the cranes to forage and nest. In addition, our public works staff has looked at the site. The pond is constructed and is a man-made stormwater pond. We will file an environmental resource permit with St. John's, but do not see any immediate threats. As Parks and Recreation, we want to be good stewards of the environment. Look at Turkey Creek. That's what we do for a living. Playgrounds, but also nature and the preservation of our resources. Another example is Veterans Park. We received a grant to redevelop Vets Park and add a football field to the site. Vets Park has a playground, it has a pond, and it has a brand new football field with hundreds of kids and people at the site all day. This picture up here actually was taken probably in August, well before I knew anything about this project. These are the cranes at the 50-yard line of the football field hanging out. They were enjoying themselves. So, if anything, I think we could really take this opportunity to better educate the public about our environment and about conservation, and this really could be a good thing. So in closing, it starts in parks. We are grateful for this opportunity. We're very thankful of Council's time, and thank you for your consideration on the project.
Just a thought of, there are Palm Bay High School Pirates, maybe community hours, they might work there, they have to earn hours.
Yes, we've actually talked, there's the potential of a baseball team coming out to help out with that, as well as the football group at Vets Park. They're the Palm Bay Pirates. Yeah. And while they're at Vets Park, there's a lot of kids that live throughout Palm Bay. I think we'd probably get a couple kids helping out.
High school kids need to get community hours. Also, there's Eagle Scouts do stuff, so, I mean, there should be a lot of help if you can get it out there, so thank you very much, Heidi.
Thank you.
And thank you, guys, I appreciate it.